Welcome to the board meeting for the Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees. Today is April 24th. We'll open the meeting at 6:30 p.m. At this time, I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'll have invocation by Ms. Bobby Hill, community member. Thank you, Ms. Hill.
Our dearest Father in heaven, we're so grateful for this opportunity to gather together as a community and a school board to grow together and to feel thy spirit to help lead us, to guide and lead the children, and teach them in all the things that they need to do. And we pray that thou will continue to watch over us. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you.
Ms. Padilla, can you do introduction roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Lowell Strike,
Here.
Mr. Jason Olson,
Here.
Ms. Leanna Harding,
Here.
Mr. David Montemayor,
Here.
Ms. Melissa Myers,
Here.
Mr. Alejandro Flores,
Here.
Mr. Dan Blackwood,
Here.
and Mr. DeLeon English.
Here.
Thank you. Do we have any citizen input at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, Ms. Pia Foster, with UE, topic UEA salary comparison. Ms. Foster, if you can come on up. Thank you. If you don't mind introducing yourself and just state your address and location for us.
I don't necessarily need a mic. Can you all hear me? I'm Pia Foster. I reside at 8400 Stonebrook Parkway, apartment 927, Frisco, Texas, 75034. President Myers, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Strike, good evening. I am a regional manager for United Educators Association. Each year, UEA compiles a comparison of teacher salaries for the DFW area. We compare 21 area school districts in Eastern Metroplex at 5-year benchmark increments. I have provided the 2016-17 results to you. And as we look at it at year 0 for experience, Little Elm is ranked in last position, which was the same as last year. At year 5, Little Elm was ranked 20th with a rank of 14 last year. At year 10, LEISD ranks 20th and was 13th last year. At year 15, Little Elm is ranked 19th, down from 10th place last year. At year 20, Little Elm is ranked at 14th after being in the 9th spot last year. At year 25 and year 30, Little Elm is 18th and 19th respectively, both down 3 spots from previous year. We send this document to approximately 90,000 educators and future educators. New teachers look at it to determine where they would like to start their careers, while veterans determine if driving a few more miles down the road is worth the increase of their last 5-year average for retirement. We know that salaries attract the best and the brightest within the Metroplex. However, benefits, safe working conditions, the district's reputation of supporting their teachers and the campus's culture and climate are things that keep veteran career staff and faculty. We're asked that the district strongly consider the following. 1, a significant raise for all employees to keep LEISD pay competitive. And 2, ensure teachers' planning and conference period and duty-free lunch is protected. We have heard that some teachers are frustrated due to a lack of freedom of choice during their lunchtime and infringement upon their planning and conference time. We look forward to supporting you as you strive toward great expectations. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. I just have one question as I was reviewing. Does this take into consideration benefits at all?
No,
It doesn't?
it is salary only.
Just salary only?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and just teachers on this particular comparison, so none of the other support staff or administrative staff.
Okay. And then one other question that I was just looking through, just to do a comparison of around our area, is Prosper I didn't see included.
We don't have, Prosper is not included in this salary comparison at this time.
Okay. Is there any other ones that are near us that are?
Plano doesn't provide us their numbers just yet. We're hoping that they will, that will change. So that's why you don't see Plano. And then if you don't see anyone else, then that means that we haven't received information for them. Yes, and they're not included.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I was listening. Districts that you compare, are districts same size districts? You think for different districts?
Well, we don't really necessarily look at the size, but the state does a comparison, but it's usually comparing you to districts that may be a long way away from you, which you may not necessarily feel a competitive or feel competition with, but we try to have the information from those districts that are in these areas. So no, it's not based on same size structure. It's just those districts that are in this surrounding DFW area.
Okay, so we very differently from a Frisco or Plano
Yes,
dramatically.
yes, you do, yes.
It's not an apples to apples comparison.
Just kind of gives a summary though of, what it's looking like in this. People are, there are reasons why. We all know there are reasons why people stay, why people go to places to work, why they stay, and why they leave. And it can be several different factors. This is just one face of it, one part of it. Just want to make sure you have some information.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. You're welcome. Okay. At this time, we'll do approval of minutes. Discuss and approve regular meeting minutes from March 20th, 2017.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, discussion on the minutes? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll have Superintendent Spotlight next. Dr. Strike.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. We've got a ton of people here tonight, and it'd be nice if we had this many each board meeting, but we really appreciate people turning out to recognize their children and the accomplishments. And tonight we grabbed as many as we could, and we'll probably have some more in May that we need to add to this as some of our students are going on to do some great things here in the next few days. This is an opportunity to get people up front and be recognized for the excellence that they do. And we're going to start, first of all, with our campus spotlight, and that is Lakeview Elementary. So I will introduce Kelly Carr, principal.
Excited to bring this for you tonight. I've long held the belief that one of the best ways to engage, equip, and empower kids is to put them on stage, give them some lines, give them some music, and let them shine. And so tonight, that's what we hope we will do for you. And so I have brought one of our students from Lakeview to do an introduction. If you'll step up, I'm going to give them a ring. You guys go up that way.
Good evening, Dr. Strike, school board, members of the community, family, and friends. We are students in grades 1 through 5 from Lakeview Elementary. Tonight we are going to present a few selections from Lakeview's first ever all-school musical, Thwacked. Think Chicken Little meets Frog Prince and you'll have an idea of the story. The entire show is normally about 45 minutes long, but we have made some cuts and will perform about 10 minutes of our show. We hope you enjoy it.
All right. And Miss Lisa Rout, our dyslexia therapist, was the person who said, let's do a show. And so she's writing music for us tonight. Thank you. If you want to start us off. Oh, wait.
Once upon a time,
Boy, do we have a story for you.
as I was saying, once upon a time there was a king and queen that lived in a castle.
Where else?
And they had a son who was spoiled and rude.
Not like me.
His bad behavior gave him a major problem.
Is this where I sing?
No,
You're gonna sing?
no, this is where the chorus sings.
Brilliant idea.
There was a time, not long ago, a boy was living in a castle. His dad was king, he had it made. He never worked, he simply played. We must admit, he was atrocious. He was mean, he was ferocious. He was appalling. He was a brat. He was spoiled, and that was that. Then one day when he was innocent, a stranger came his way. She said, I'm thirsty, may I have a glass of lemonade? He was rude and in a mood and said, don't be a hog. She waved her wand, whoosh, he turned into a frog. So there he sits now, all green and slimy, by a pond that he calls home. This is his story, it's quite amazing, and yet there's more to come. So there he was, slightly despondent. He knew he reaped what he had sown. He was a frog, no doubt about it. So he hopped on down the road. And as the days went by, his palate modified its size. No steak or lobster on his plate, he wanted bugs and flies. He found that sitting on a log was right where he should be. There in the swamp, underneath the big oak tree. So there he sits now, all green and slimy, by a pond that he calls home. This is his story, it's quite amazing, and yet there's more to come. The story of the frog has just begun.
Ow!
What's wrong?
What happened? Something whacked me on the head.
I'll bet it came from the sky.
Or was it part of the sky? Sky?
Is
Falling?
Excuse me, miss.
whoa. Did I hear right? Did you talk?
That's right, and we need to tell you something.
The sky is falling. Tell him.
It's true, the sky is falling. It whacked me on the head, and it hurt.
We've got to tell everyone in the village. Come on, hop to it.
Come along with me, we're going to the hop. Grab your dancing shoes, we're going to the hop.
more reliable source. And what? A frog. A frog? That's right. And although I hadn't had time to run any tests, You heard from a frog that the sky is falling? Are you nutty?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, it's true.
What?
It's whacked me on the head, and it hurt.
Mr. Mayor, how is it possible? Where did this... Wait a minute. Am I talking to a frog? I'm talking to a frog! My career is ruined, and once the media gets a hold of this, I'll be in all the tabloids. Bear has conversation with frog.
But it's true, the sky is falling, and he got a book on his head to prove it.
What is it about? Give me your hand.
Warts!
Warts?
Look, I shake hands, I kiss babies, but I do not do frogs.
Okay, but trust me, there's a bump on his imagine from the piece in the sky there.
Well, we've got to do something.
Please, Mr. Mayor, tell us what to do.
This is terrible.
If I could please have your attention, please quiet down.
Oh my God.
Okay, team, settle down.
What's the plan?
Tell us what to do. But Mr. Mayor. Yes, as I was going to say, I don't have a plan. But I am working on one.
But you are the mayor.
That's right. I must make a wise decision. I must confer with the town council.
But the sky is falling.
Would be wise and would be right if I made my decision overnight. I've got to study and ponder the information and weigh all the possible ramifications. There are things to consider and things you must know. Is the sky falling fast or is it slow? Or where do we go and what do we do to protect us from the impending doom? Got to slow down,
But the problem is urgent.
slow down.
We can't waste time.
Slow down.
We need a decision right now
Slow down
before we run out of time.
Concerned and we know how you feel. The danger at hand looks certainly real. But we don't need to hurry, we don't need to rush. We'll meet all together to talk and discuss. We got to slow down.
But the problem is urgent.
Slow down.
We can't waste time.
Slow down.
We need a decision right now
Slow down.
before we run out of time.
That's it. That's it.
Ouch! What did you do that for?
What did that feel like?
Like the sky was falling. Like an acorn hit me on the head.
Yes, at last we have the facts. A, no one else has been hit on the head. B, the sky looks perfectly perfect. C, Frog was sitting under an oak tree. And D, there is an acorn on the ground nearby. So, what are we to deduce from this? Okay, team, move along. Nothing to see here.
What about the frog? He's the one who came up with this crazy story.
Yeah. Hold it. No one touches the frog. It's not his fault he was whacked on the nose with an acorn.
Still sore.
And none of you even question his story. I'm so sorry. After all, it was just an honest mistake made by an innocent creature who just so happens to be green, slimy, and has warts.
Thank you for those kind words. I would like to apologize for the inconvenience I may have caused all of you. I honestly thought the sky was falling, and I do have a sore head.
Here, this will make it better.
What's happening? What? What happened?
swamp returned to normal, and the prince returned to his home in the castle. He was now a humble and nice young man.
He remained friends with the villagers and talked a lot with his best friend Rachel.
Every now and then, he would join his frog friends for an evening of singing
And dining in the swamp. Oddly enough, he still had an occasional yearning for flies. Ribbit.
This is amazing. This is stupendous. What a day that this has been. Talking frogs, a sky that's falling, and now a handsome prince.
As we shuffle people in and out, we'll have a number of transitions. Right now, I'd like to introduce our high school, Little Elm High School principal, Renee Pentecost, and she has recognition of the Little Elm PD and fire department.
Good evening, Ms. Myers, Dr. Strike, and the board. We are here tonight to tell you about a special program that we did at the high school this year. This has now become an annual program. It, up until last year, was every other year. And this is our district nursing coordinator, Tony Nelson, and she's going to introduce the people up here and tell you a little bit more about why we are so happy and appreciative that they helped us out with this.
Thank you. This is about our eighth time to do it. We've never been rained out. This year we were rained out. And these great guys, this is operator driver Espinosa, Lieutenant Lyons, paramedic Dutch, and assistant chief Wilson. And then this is our project manager for our Shadow Dreams, Ms. Murray Perez. And we were rained out, so we couldn't do it. We just saw the video that they had worked so hard on. But they used this as part of their college entrance portfolio. So I asked the firefighters and the police officers if they could come just to do some stage shots so that they could still use it. And these guys said, no, we're gonna come do the whole thing for y'all. So I'm gonna cry. So So they came, and I asked them, well, could you just come down the street with the lights on so that they can get some good videos? And they said, we're going to come from the fire department with the lights on. We're going to work it up just like the real wreck. So they did the whole thing with no kids out there, just our actors and our filmers. And it just, I thank y'all so much for the kids, for our high school, the whole program. So we have some plaques for you too, thank you. And then we have one for the police department for coming as well, because they did their part too, so thank y'all so much. Shattered Dreams is a mock drug driving scenario. We have the crash car out there, and the students make a video, a pre-prom type. Crash like a real wreck scene. So we are doing it every year, and we do invite you to come see it next year. This one will be gone, but she did an amazing job. It's student led, they do it all. I just kind of tell them who to call on, and it's great.
I'm going to just add a few words about this project. Every year, we hear about young people who make poor decisions when it comes to getting behind the wheel. This is a project that many of us feel near and dear to our hearts, but Tony Nelson really is the leader who makes sure that this happens. We have regular meetings. This isn't something that's put on overnight or even within a month's time. Planning for this event starts at the beginning of the school year and then takes us right up until the weekend before prom. So I want to thank her for her leadership and making sure that this important message gets to our kids as well. Thank you.
I think you got a photo op.
We like it.
Yeah, photo op. Thank you, Renee. Just, it's amazing how incredible the fire department and police department are in Little Elm. The things they do to help our kids and help our schools to be safe and stay safe. And we're just glad that we had this opportunity to recognize your show of empathy and appreciation for our kids in this event. So thank you so much. Very appreciated. Next, I'd like to introduce our athletic director, Sandra Howell, and some recognition of our basketball team.
Good evening, Dr. Strike and Board of Trustees. I'm very happy to be here tonight on a wonderful occasion. As many of you know, our boys basketball team were the District 14 5A undefeated district champions and area finalists. They made it 2 rounds deep. These young men have done some outstanding feats, many of them all district first or second team. We have all staters, all star, some that are going to play in all-star games, and we have our first ever All-American. The other nice thing that happened this year is Coach Rusty Siegler picked up his 600th win while coaching these young men, and we are extremely proud. I'm going to turn over the microphone for Coach Siegler to introduce his players.
Thank you all so very much. 600 wins comes when you get old, you know what I'm saying? and then the second part is to have guys like that right over there. It's tremendous. I am getting old, it's the way it works, but those guys rejuvenated me this year. I had more fun than I have in my 36 years of coaching. And I won't hold you very long, but I do want to introduce my guys over here. I'm gonna do my seniors first that are here. A couple of guys couldn't be here because of other commitments, football and some stuff. So I'm gonna introduce here my seniors, Devin Pullum. Simba Zuma. Deshaun Gilbert. Sazi, otherwise known as O. Mohammed. And here's the next is 4 of my 5 that hopefully are going to keep this going. We're going to miss these guys unbelievable, but hopefully we're going to keep this going. These are my 2 juniors, Iwu. Javian Williams. And then 2 freshmen against the wall over there. 2 freshmen that came to this and they're going to be sophomores and they don't play like freshmen and they don't act like freshmen. They're fantastic young men. KJ Pruitt. And last but not least, RJ Hampton. I know that I would miss so many things as far as awards because I'm still putting that all together, and every day I go, wait a minute, there's another. Wait a minute, there's another one. We had so many firsts in our school this year as far as our basketball program is concerned, and firsts are good. When we came here 7 years ago, mediocrity was not acceptable. We said it's not going to be acceptable. We're not there yet. If we had a little better coach, we might have got past that second round, Coach Howe said. These guys, you learn these guys, they're going to do what we ask them to do. And they weren't as prepared as they needed to be, so I take responsibility for that. But as I say, these young guys that are coming back are a nucleus that's going to keep this thing rolling and keep this thing going. I do want to say a couple of the first so that I can let you know, I know everybody's ready to get going here. This is the first 14-game district undefeated season. We had a 12-one, and before we won 29 games, the most we've ever won in the season. We had a 20-game winning streak that was stopped by West Mesquite and Coach Sigler. But these guys got up to a second rank in the state of Texas in 5A, and that's team things. And again, I'm trying to tell you all the awards because I'll leave some out, but our seniors just did a fantastic job. Devin Pullum is now going to go on a full scholarship to Eastern New Mexico to play for another Coach Sigler. I'm very proud of that. My son. I hope Devin will back me up saying that I did not influence him at all to go there, but I'm sure was happy he did. Simba is going to go to Oklahoma Wesleyan and play basketball and further his education and get to play. Devin was named All-Region for the 3rd straight year and was All-State first team this year. And he's going to play in the TABC All-Star game and the North Texas All-Star game that I'm going to get fortunate enough to coach him one more game. I get to coach in that game, so it's kind of cool. RJ, as a freshman, led all scorers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area with a number of points as a freshman. He also made All-State, first freshman ever to make All-State. And the other day he was voted as All-American. We've never had an All-American in our school basketball-wise as far as athletics, and he was chosen one of 5. And one of the 5 was the Player of the Year, and then RJ is listed next. So he's done a great job also as far as coming in and doing what we've asked him to do. Another exciting thing about RJ is going to get to do is going to play for USA Basketball this summer. And that means he's going to get to travel all over the world. When we talk about how far out does Little Elm reach, well, this year it's going to go at least to Argentina. you know? And what, he's such a fine young man to represent us because he's as good a young man as he is a ball player. His parents have done a great job with him. And again, I know I've left off some things. I apologize, guys, but these guys right here, we were 10 strong. We were 10 strong. 2 aren't here today, but this was fun and had a great time. And I appreciate the support of our whole community and our board of directors allowing us to do this. Dr. Strike is our superintendent. Coach Howell is our athletic director. It can't be done without y'all. It can't be done. And so we appreciate that so much in our community. It's just fantastic. I'm proud to say I'm a little Elmian. Is that the word? Can you say that? Little Elmian? Little Elmian, whatever? I'm proud. That sounded bad, didn't it? I'm sorry. I am proud. I am so proud. Is that enough? Is that enough, Sean? I'm so proud to be a part of this. I can't stand it. So, but, and of course I look back there and there's Miss Pentecost running our show over there, that whole place and doing everything. And her support is just fantastic. Miss Pentecost, thank you so much. She's at a lot of our games, and she got a little close to the action these last couple of years, but I think everything was cool there too. Got 2 guys I left off, and I left them off at the end because these 2 guys have been with me for 7 years. And I do want to introduce them to you and have them come up here because they're my family also. My 2 assistant coaches are incredible. I can't do it myself, and these 2 guys are just amazing on where we're at. We have become brothers. We have become mind melded. We think we like each other. They're not afraid to tell me, Coach, we don't need to do that. Let's do this. They're not afraid of that. They're not yes men. And I've been blessed to have these guys with me, and I want to introduce them too. We got Nigel Smith. Come on up, Coach. And we got Devon English. Come on up, Coach. Come on up. If you've ever been in athletics or any kind of organization that's successful, these 2 guys know more about these guys than I do because they're the buffer between us. And the stories I get to hear about this is just really funny because I've usually got my back to it and I'm in the way of the scores table and I'm in the way of the referees and stuff like that. Although if you watched our games, I've decided to step back behind the bench so everybody can actually see the game. But anyway, it is an honor. It is a joy. And it is my such pride and privilege to be a part of this, and I want to thank everybody involved for allowing me to do that. And this is our crew of 10. This is our 10 strong, and these guys right here, I love them. And I would have introduced the parents. I don't think we had. Are there any parents here today? I'm sorry, of ours. If not, I'm thanking them from afar because they do more with them than I do, but I'm so glad I get to rent them for a while, get to lease them for a while. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Coach, just a couple quick things, Coach, I want to share. One of the comments that Coach Segler made about this team is that how they're a family, and that goes to just the coaching staff, that you bring people together, and you've got to be the leaders to show what family is and why that's important, and we appreciate that. But I've got to know a couple of them through different things and a lot from observation of watching them play. And when Coach Segler says not only the good basketball players, obviously 14-0 in district and 29 wins, they really, really are great young men. And it's going to be exciting to watch their lives as they move on. You guys really are a tremendous group of people. And they were on High School Sports Live. I'm not sure if that's the name of the show or not. ABC, Channel 8. And Joe Trahan, after he interviewed each of them, and what a great job you guys did. I take that and watched that several times, just because you're such a great example. But when it came back to him, to Joe Trahan on the camera, he said, boy, those Little Elm logos knocked it out of the park. And he doesn't say that about every group, and it's because of how you represented yourselves. Was really just proud to be associated with you. And one of the things that's important to us is that we talk obviously a lot about family, And we talk about engage, equip, and empower, and that's not just in our academic world, it's everything we do, all of our extracurricular programs, or clubs, or organizations that we do. And it takes great leadership to bring those things about, both by obviously members of any organization, but also the leadership of the team. And we have an award that we call the Triple E Award, and it stands the 3 E's, engage, equip, and empower. And we present not a lot of those, very few, but they're presented to someone who takes something that has to do with the Little Elm Lobos at whatever level, pre-K through 12, and brings it to a forefront that's broader than just their building, in this case Little Elm High School, and it takes the district and it puts it out there because of how well you represent yourself. And so tonight, and I really love this guy, Coach Segler. I've known Coach Segler since probably 1995, 96. Would that be about right, Coach? Yes, sir. And when I say I knew him, we didn't know each other really personally. He actually was my son's basketball coach when my son was a junior varsity player at A&M Consolidated High School. But what I do remember about Coach Segler, I read in the paper, and he, clear back then, he talked about even his own kids. And he made the comment that this is more than just about basketball. This is about developing young people who are going to go on and become great, great citizens. So I know for at least since those 95, 96, right in there, years, that he's believed that, and we're seeing it carried forward today. And the result of some of that, I believe, shows up in your lives as you've had the opportunity to play for him. So Coach Segler, we'd like to present you with the Triple E Award, Engage, Equip, and Empower. And then we give them Wisdom of Wolves, Leadership Lessons from Nature. And it talks about all the different things that are just about unity and about how wolves operate together and stay together as a team and really operate as a family. And I think that you're an example of that. We appreciate your wisdom that you pass on.
Thank you so much for that. We'd like to read just what we do. On three, baby. On three, let's go, Rosie. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. All for one, one for all. Thank you. Thank you, Sonny. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your help and everything, girl. I appreciate you, Cece. You're good, good. You're good. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Congratulations. Good luck.
And keeping with the theme of Ms. Pentecost coming back up, get a recognition of another great accomplishment, and Renee's going to talk about our winter guard.
Actually, I'm going to introduce our Director of Bands and Coordinator of Music for the district, Mr. Frank Felice, who's going to come up and introduce the directors who have spent the most time with our Winter Guard, and then they're going to tell you a little bit about their accomplishments. I'm so proud to be here tonight. Come on up, Frank. I'm so proud to be here tonight because we really have a lot to brag about in athletics, in fine arts, in academics, and y'all are going to get to hear a little bit about that in all three areas.
Dr. Strike, Board of Trustees, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is a very hard-working group of students, and they seldom get recognized by the district, and it's such a wonderful thing that you're allowing this to happen tonight, because I'd like to tell you just a little bit about them. First of all, I'm going to have Mr. Benton, if you'll come on up, Mr. Benton. Mr. Benton is the Associate Director at Little Elm High School. He's finishing his first year with us, so I wanted you guys to get to see him and meet him. And he's been more or less the point of contact for Mrs. Zotti and for the Guard throughout this Winter Guard season. And he's done so much to make sure behind the scene that things are being done and logistics are being taken care of. Also want to recognize our Guard Director, and I'm going to have her come on up at this time. This is Miss Kristen Zotti. Miss Zotti, I think Miss Zotti just finished her third year with us, and she's doing an outstanding job. Now, for those of you that are asking, what is Winter Guard? What are we recognizing right now? Let me kind of tell you just a little bit about this. If you come to the football games on Friday night and you see the band on the field, you look out there and you see all of the students with the rifles, the flags, the sabers. That's our color guard. Okay? Winter Guard is just what we call those group of students who continue into the spring semester that are competing just for themselves. So what they do is we'll have a show that's choreographed, that's written for our Guard, and Mrs. Zotti, through the audition process, we have a varsity Guard and a junior varsity Guard. And they're traveling on the weekends competing on the local circuit, which is called North Texas Color Guard Association, the NTCA circuit. This year, this is our varsity Guard made up of 18 students. We have a JV Guard that has another 16 students. This year on the NTCA circuit, they competed at 3 different competitions, and at each of the 3 they placed first. Then we went on to the WGI, or World Guard International circuit, and competed at 2 regional competitions, one here in Dallas and one in Austin, where they finished first and they finished second at the other contest. Now, to kind of fill you in on this a little bit, a lot of people, you know, in 2010, our varsity Guard won the World Championship in Scholastic A class with our Guard Director at that time, Mr. Sosa. And a lot of people wondered, you know, will we be able to continue that kind of thing? Would we be able to continue moving forward after that? And I'm going to tell you what, Ms. Zotti has done that. She's done an unbelievable job with these students. When we won the World Championship in 2010 in Ohio, we were in Scholastic A class. And now we are in open class. And just to let you know, the only thing above open class is world class, which is a very, very elite small group. And in the open class level this year, on the North Texas Color Guard circuit, they won the gold medal and finished in first place just about a month or so ago now. And that is the highest our Guard has ever finished at any NTCA circuit. So that was a tremendous job by our Guard. Just to let you know, the closest school to us, I think beneath us in score, was Flower Mound High School. That's the level that these guys are competing. I wish you could see their show. I wish you could see what they do, because these students are not just out there spinning flags standing still. They are going 100 miles an hour. Back in just a minute when they come forward, these are some of the best athletes, I believe, on our campus. Because if you could see what they do, they are nonstop running, moving, dancing, while they're throwing a rifle in the air, spinning 5 times, while they're throwing a saber in the air and someone else catching it behind their back. It's unbelievable what these kids do. And I just can't tell you how proud we are of them. They've done a tremendous job. Just recently, they went to Dayton, Ohio for the WGI World Guard Championships. And out of about 50 guards that started from across the country, our Guard finished in finals competition in 7th place in the country. So we'd like to congratulate them at this time. Mrs. Zotti come on up, and she's going to introduce our Winter Guard, varsity Winter Guard.
I will start with our captains first, and then we'll go down the line of what grade they are in. So first, I'd like to introduce our 3 captains. Maura Elskamp. Mariah Donahue. Continuing on with our seniors, we have Josh Kent. Ellen Hazel. Ashley Harris. Daisy Cardona. Jake Mooney. And Austin Whaley. In our junior class, we have Gigi Romero. And Sherry Lamb. Also, we have Brittany Allen. In our sophomores, we have Allie Harding. Tracy Taylor. Abby Jones. Sarah Merrill. And Sarah Levy. These kids work so hard and they're incredibly passionate, and that's just why they've been growing so quickly these last 3 years that I've been here. They push me and my staff just as much as I push them. We couldn't have done it without these great band directors that we have, and Mrs. Pentecost, and all of the support from the principals and the administration, and especially the district. It really does take an army to get these kids to travel across the country competing on such a high national level, and it is something to really be proud of at the end of the school year when they can look back at their video and be proud of everything that they've done as individuals and working together as a team. I'd also like to have the parents of these students please stand up. At rehearsal before and afterwards, bringing us the competitions, taking care of these students when I'm behind the scenes with working with everything else that the job has to include. So I'd just like to thank the parents and the students for making this year so incredible, and everyone that had a big role in this entire thing that we've done this school year. So let's give everyone one last round of applause.
I think we're going to try and take a photo with the students and their parents in the back of the room. Because it's a large group. Sorry, people in the back of the room.
As they're headed back that way, and I'll join the picture in a second, just a quick comment. When I first started and went and had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Felice, one of the first things he said to me is, he said, of course, I'm the director of bands, but he said, I got to tell you about our Winter Guard. He said, we have an amazing program and we want to make sure that continues. He talked about Coach Zadi and her hard work and how important she was to the program. And he said, I promise as we continue to work with this, we're going to be able to continue the great things that we've done. And again, we see the result of that. So good conversation, Mr. Felice.
Pink drink.
want to, here.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead with the next. Ms. Pentecost, you're still on stage with our Blue Angels.
Next, I would like to introduce our director of our award-winning Blue Angels drill team, Miss Julia Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Pentecost. These young ladies have been very busy. If anyone made it to the spring show last Friday night, we just finished a whole week of show week, got a little bit of sleep. They had studio today. Brandon got dinner and came here. This is all I could get to here tonight, so they're very grateful. They're very excited, and they had an amazing contest season. We went to 3 competitions this year for the first time ever, and we did a lot of bargain shopping, borrowed costumes so we could do 3. It is not cheap ever, and we got there and we got grand champions for 2 of the competitions, numerous awards if you saw my millions of emails. Then tons of awards that I can't even remember them all. As a matter of fact, I left one off of the first competition apparently. But they worked really hard. At the moment, we have put in a proposal for the uniforms, and we've got a great company. We were supposed to have a prototype. It is almost ready, and it's designed after the Texas State Strutter's new uniform, which I was a Texas State Strutter in college. So we're very excited about that. So I will be showing you this. However, as of right now, they still look beautiful. And they've had a very wonderful contest season. And I'm going to keep this short and sweet because I tend to ramble at practice. So that's all I have from me. I would love to introduce the girls. All right. This is one of our freshmen. We only had 2 freshmen this year. This is Tahira Washington. This is Diana. Sorry, I was like, I think it was a video. It's been a long couple weeks. This is Bella Bastich. This is Sabrina Cummings. Sabrina, she was actually our mascot years ago and wore the drill team uniform, still has it, and her counterpart was also on our team this year. They were both, when our team went down to about 15 a few years ago, just, one of those years, and they were mascots, and so now she is an actually official Blue Angel, so that's kind of cute. And this is one of our officers, representing all of our officers. She said she could be captain tonight, so we'll call her captain, but she's our new Lieutenant Leslie Mata. Are there any other drill team parents here that have contributed? They actually all drive now. Our team is a lot older, and so they all carpool, and they're all like grown up and stuff. I worry about them too, like anybody else. So we've got a lot of great things planned, and now people think, oh, you're on the downhill swing. Nope, now we're getting ready for summer camp and team camp and graduation and clean the closet and etc. So thank you guys for having us so much. We're so appreciative. Thank you.
Well, they're getting ready to take that picture, which again, I'm sure they're used to getting a lot of pictures taken. Just want to say congratulations to the entire team, first of all, because it is such a huge team effort. But then also Coach Smith and what she does. She's got a passion for what she does. Anytime you run into her, she's going to talk to you about dance. And she's got great enthusiasm, as you can tell. So thank you. Hey. She's
We had a lot of bad jokes.
Continuing.
Ready? There we go. Good job.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you sleep? No, that doesn't.
And let's bring Miss Pentecost back up.
Okay, and next, from our art department, Mr. Chris Malia is going to come up and tell you about our students whose sculptures have been recognized on a national stage.
Mr. Molina.
So it's been a bittersweet year. For me, this is my first round of, I guess, true seniors in my class, and so I'll be missing them. But we have come a long ways in the last 3 and 4 years. I've had these 2 students, and in the last 2 years we've gone to a national competition. Last year was in Kansas City. This year was in Portland, Oregon. And out of quick, I guess, estimates would be about 1,500 students that enter this competition. They choose about 10%, so 150 get into this competition. And these 2 were accepted into the exhibition in Portland. And last year, Catherine came away with, Ms. Catherine Neves, she came away with about $88,000 scholarship. And each one of them have earned a scholarship. And Leslie Castro here has, this year, she pulled in a $1,000 scholarship for tuition. And each one of them has also this year gained cash prizes on the side and other awards along with the exhibition. So again, I'm gonna miss these guys, truly. It's been great, and yeah, that's about it.
Chris, thank you so much. It's amazing. Again, it's like anything. You guys come with talent, and you got a teacher that develops that talent and does it with great enthusiasm and passion for what he does. I was doing the awards out there and actually put one, this is fabulous. And he goes, well, that's Chris's. You can't award that one. So that kid's got talent. But to be able to carry your love for art and be able to share it with students who have that love and you cultivate it into excellence in your hard work and consistency, I think is important too, in terms of thinking that it isn't just a one-shot deal. They've been able to consistently work with that. And if you didn't have a chance to see the art show and see those pieces, because they're out of the room now, awesome work, and we really appreciate your efforts, guys. So best of luck to you in the future.
We just took them home.
Are you wanting to get up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My agenda says Dr. Tipton.
One more. She's got one more.
No.
Never mind. Move it up.
So thanks,
She had one
Renee.
more, sorry.
She's going to help Dr. Tipton.
Please,
here.
please, I need all the help I can get.
Dr. Tony Tipton, he's our Director of Career Technology Education in our elective program, so I'll turn it over to Tony.
Thank you so much. And wow, what a night of accomplishments and what a night of firsts for Little Elm ISD. I'm standing in the back just blown away, and we're going to continue the trend, hopefully, of blowing you away tonight with some things that have happened in the Career and Technical Education Department. There are some firsts for our school, and to do that better than I ever could, I'm going to introduce Mr. Roger Huntley, who's our DECA sponsor, and he's going to introduce the rest of our crew, including Miss Holly Henry in the back. So, Mr. Huntley, you want to come on up and you want to bring your kids up and introduce and tell our guests about their accomplishments.
Thank you, Dr. Tipton. Thank you, board, for all your support this year, and our steady hand at the wheel of the high school, Renee Pentecost, awesome principal. So this is part of your DECA International Career Development Conference team. The other day in the Dallas Morning News, you can tell my age, I still read my paper molecularly instead of electrons. And John Challenger of Challenger Gray was interviewed about a job program that Starbucks and JCPenney's and some of the others are trying to roll in for hard to employ between 18 and 24 and saying, these are the kind of skills that this program will provide that you just don't learn in high school. And I really wanted to write in very bold letters for 70 odd years, a group called DECA and a program called Marketing and Business Education has been providing job skills. And beyond that, much like we don't call IBM International Business Machines anymore, we don't call DECA Distributed Education Clubs of America. As you'll hear when I go through the little biographies of my students, we are a college prep program 70 years later to compete with anything that's being done in any high school in the country. I've never taken more than 3 people on this trip, and I'm taking 13, so that's just how good they are. So without further ado, Josiah Spencer, who came here from his interview with Notre Dame, where he's hoping to attend. He's also been accepted to UT. He's been a lifeguard for 2 years. He's also an intern for Rev. Pat Fallon. He's hoping to pursue a degree in business and marketing and eventually become an entrepreneur. And he was awarded a $60,000 scholarship. So Gwendolyn Liara is a junior, and she's still trying to figure out what her process is going to be. She's considering Collin and then finishing Hardin-Simmons. But if we have another year together, we're gonna raise that up. She's worked at Whataburger for almost a year. Just to let you know, she started at minimum wage in that year's time, and she's tried to quit and to take other jobs twice, and every time they give her another raise. Okay, she's just about making teacher money. So she plans to major in business and marketing, and then she hopes to get her teaching certification and come back and teach business and be a DECA advisor. So what can I say? That sounds awesome. Peter Riotti is also a junior. He is currently still he's getting into the college hunt, but he's focused on A&M and UT. You may recognize him if you go to Hula Hut, where he's a to-go server, and he will major in engineering and minor in business. And the beautiful thing about the program that we're working on in CTE is we've left enough flexibility, and thank you for the 8-period day, that a kid who wants to do engineering and business can get both and not be so restricted by, rules, which we don't like. Okay. Next up, I want to introduce you to Blake Buffy. He's a senior. He's been with me for quite some time, and a lot of these students I've had since sophomores, and Miss Henry and Mr. Parker, who couldn't make it this evening. We really run it as an academy, as a threesome, so it's a 3-headed teaching monster over there. Blake is accepted at the University of North Texas. He is also going to be attending in their honors college. He just got word of that. He's been at LaPeep, and he's now at Chick-fil-A in the back, getting those sandwiches out to you. He's going to double major in marketing and finance and be in the marketing department for a sports marketing. I'm going to just do the kids who are here, and then I'll do a quick one on the ones who could not get off work because they're off for the rest of the week, and their managers all said, no, you cannot have one more day off. So most of my guys are at work this evening. Brianna Kirk, who some of you may have seen working around here, she's actually in an internship program with the marketing department. She plans to attend Texas Tech. She has been awarded a presidential scholarship. She can take care of all your paint needs at Lowe's, and she's hoping to get a bachelor's degree in marketing and management and with a certificate in leadership. Martha Paz, who greeted me at the Blue Angels on Friday with a big hug because she just got noticed. She's a junior, and she's considering Rice or UT, although I think Rice moved up and UT down because she was awarded a Questbridge grant. Questbridge will be potentially worth $200,000. And if we did not have Mrs. Brown over at the high school, I don't know that we would have known how many smart little Elm kids we have eligible for some of these programs. And in addition, through DECA, she's been invited to attend the Females in Business Leadership at Bowling Green University this summer, along with her partner, Hazel, who Hazel's madrina brought them to me as freshmen and said, Mr. Hutley, take care of them after she graduated. So that's pretty good. Martha is looking, she's at Chicken Express, mainly so she could be in my co-op class. I don't think she likes to work much because she's number 6 in her class and gets a lot of homework. But I appreciate what she's done this year and also holding down a job, and she hopes to be in marketing or industrial psychology. tall guys. So Bryce is a senior. He's also going to go to Texas Tech. He's also received the presidential scholarship. Bryce was poached over the Easter break, so he had been working for one pool management company, and they jobbed him out to the lakes at Castle Hills. He's now the pool fitness center manager at the lakes at Castle Hills Country Club. His plans are to major in finance and concentration in real estate. And then lastly, Hazel Ibarra. Hazel's a junior. She is also early in the process of finding her school, but she's hopeful University of Texas will see her great skills and let her in. She is also going to Females in Business Leadership at Bowling Green this summer. She works at her parents' restaurant, which is called Jalisco Restaurant. It's located in Louisville, and you'll get a 10% discount if you say you're with the Little Elm School Board. Her future plans would be travel and tourism management, marketing management, and obviously minor in Spanish. Not here, but hard at work. I'll try to be kind of quick, but I want to give them all the same respect that we're giving the ones who could make it. Ryan Martellaro is a senior. He is committed to UNT. He has been with Target since 2015, working up to 30 hours a week and maintaining his high grade level and high GPA. And he's considering accounting and marketing and music management, and he wants to work for a record label as an accountant or an agent. Isaac Willis, whose brother Alex went with me to International last year. He's a junior. He's looking at Rice and the Colorado School of Mines. He is currently at Zuzu's Handmade Mexican Restaurant as an employee, and planning to study mechanical engineering as a major in a career, so I appreciate that he's giving some of his talents to marketing. And then Jose Ruben Mendoza, who I believe is number 6 in the senior class. I don't know if that's out there. He's undecided, but he has some pretty good options. So I guess he's my All-American since he got accepted at the Wharton Business School at the University of Pennsylvania. That was a pretty good win, where it looks like it'll be a full ride. And he's also been accepted to Cornell. They flew him up Sunday, so he's in transit back from Cornell right now. That's in the hospitality school. He's been accepted to UT McCombs School of Business, Texas A&M, and he's got a full ride at SMU. So his indecision, I said to him, you only have good decisions. So he was waitlisted by Harvard, which was all I could hear about. I'm like, you know, first world problems, right? He is a cook at Twisted Tortilla. And his future plans, management and finance as a major, and then continue on to law school. And then he'll said we'll just have to wait and see. So that's this year's DECA. This would be the kind of group you would say, oh, mic drop, I'm out. Oh, I'm so sorry. Good point. So one of our co-presidents, along with Jose, is Elizabeth Rosales, who's on the second page. Oh, I got 2. And she is accepted to A&M and Angelo State, but she's still waiting to hear from Texas Wesleyan and Tarleton. She would be your Starbucks barista, and she's planning to major in marketing or fashion merchandising. She's been with Holly and I for 4 years. She also runs our fashion show every year. And then Brenda Villara, who's currently over at CC's. They would not let her off. She wants to work in marketing and is looking at Colin and then going to TWU. So that's your group. If parents who are here could stand and get recognized, that would be great.
Oh, in the picture?
We're done.
And our final CTE awards of the evening, Dr. Nick Mitchell, if you'll come up. Dr. Mitchell is one of our health science teachers, and he works with our several of our classes, including our practicum level students. And he's here representing HOSA, and he's going to introduce the students and tell about their accomplishments. Again, first time that we've ever done this in our school, and he'll tell you about that.
Hello, everyone, family. My name is Nicholas Mitchell. I'm one of the HOSA sponsors. So there's 2 HOSA sponsors, and no one wasn't able to make it today. HOSA stands for Health Occupational Students of America. And this year we are taking our first student to nationals. She made it to nationals. So she placed 3rd place in medical photography. Hope Hogan, you want to raise so they know which one you So nationals this year will be in Orlando, Florida in June. So she's going to compete and hopefully bring home something national. Also awarded at state this year is Kayla Smith. And she was awarded for all of her community service hours that she's done. Okay, so she got the Barbara James Community Service Award. Today, we had another one that's not with us that was awarded. She was awarded the HOSA Happenings. She created a newsletter for our HOSA students. So she wasn't able to make it, but we want to recognize her. I don't have a big sheet of stuff to go over, so we're just going to be pretty short. Parents, stand up. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Let's get over and get up. Let's get our pictures here.
And our last recognition of the evening is to Love Packs and Pat Robbins. If you want to come up, please.
Can you hear me? A little bit about Love Packs. You know, we have a lot of organizations that do an enormous amount of support for our district and for our students. And one of the things that Love Packs does is make sure that our students that don't necessarily have resources or their families don't have the resources, to make sure that these kids are able to eat so that they can come to school ready to learn. And that is so hugely important. It takes stress off the family, and it allows those kids to sort of hit the ground running with their peers. And we really cannot appreciate them enough for what they do. It's a volunteer organization, and I have a few lists of their current needs. If you have household clothing or household items, take them to donate to support and tell them that you're coming on behalf of Love Packs, and they will donate to Love Packs. And they need fruit and vegetables, cans of tuna or chicken, chunky soups, or Chef Boyardee. So if you want to donate to Love Packs, they would really love that. And we'd love to bring some of the representatives from Love Packs up so that we can recognize them. Kim Groff, and Trish Snyder, and Leah Thrapp, Lindsay Sudruth, and Mandy Harper. President would like to come up and say a word to. Linda McGlick, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for coming. We really appreciate it. I started getting involved with this group probably 3 years ago. I met with Kim and kind of understood a little bit more what they do and what they can provide to students. I know that originally I was in the Colony. I thought this is a great opportunity, and Kim was already on it. It was amazing to know that there's people here in town that were already looking at our students, knowing that there was a need. And it was funny one night going up and down, I don't know, 2 flights of stairs, and seeing what you ladies do and your group and the volunteers, back-breaking work. It's taking these boxes, cardboard boxes, and filling them, and it's putting cans of soup in, or jars of peanut butter, all of that stuff. I did it one night and was dying the next day. So it's back-breaking work. If you can volunteer, if you can get involved, definitely do it. It's a wonderful group, and I'm really proud to know most of these ladies. So thank you very much.
Ms. Myers, I'd like to request that we move action item from 10C, discuss and approve the parameter bond order for issuance up to $10 million of refunding of bonds. We have an outside presenter, and we're going to make him wait 3 more hours, but we decided to see if we could have your permission to move that up.
Absolutely. Any issue for the board? Perfect. So we'll move item 10C up to under reports of superintendent.
And Mr. Anderson is out ill this whole week, and so we're going to have a couple of his people do the work anyway. We'll start with you. He probably doesn't watch the tape. We're okay.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Strike. This evening, the administration is requesting approval of a parameter board order for issuance of up to $10 million of refunding bonds, which will provide potential savings for the district on bond costs. Derek Pony is here with RBC Capital this evening to present the details on the bond refunding and answer any questions you may have.
Well, good evening, board. If you remember, I think we've had our refinancing, which is our term, or refunding, which is our term for refinancing every year going back to like 2010. And I didn't think we were going to have one this year, but the market has stayed, rates have stayed lower than we thought they were going to be at this point. And then in addition, I'm going to talk to you about a federal tax law, which I've mentioned before, that allows you to sell, if the district is going to sell less than $10 million in bonds in a calendar year, you can make a tax designation that allows you to get a lower interest rate, and that's kind of driving this opportunity as well. So I provided you a hard copy of this book in front of you as well. If you flip to tab 1, just quickly want to give you a sense of what's going on in the market. On page 4, on the right there, we just show you our economist interest rate projections, and just to summarize this, we're thinking that rates are going to go up probably another 0.5 point by the end of the year, and then rise probably another 0.5 to 3/4 of a point in 2018. So I say that just saying that we think now is the time before rates get higher to refinance some more debt. If you flip forward 1 more page to page 5, this is more of a snapshot of municipal interest rates. over the last year. And if you look at that inset chart on the top right, labeled Shift in AAA MMB since last April, you can see rates hit the all-time low in our market going back 60 years in mid-July. And then we kind of saw a steady ramp up and then a huge spike right after the presidential election, which you probably saw in most interest rate markets. Rates had then came down quite a bit in January and February, and then they kind of leveled out, and there's still some volatility, but we think we're kind of at a less volatile place at this point. And again, we were thinking we would just see a steady increase in rates. If you flip forward one more page to page 6, I've showed you this before. This is what we call the bond buyer general obligation bond index, and this takes a snapshot of municipal interest rates going back to a weekly snapshot going back to 1961. So you can see the yellow bar is today's rate at 3.83%, and then that bottom bullet point kind of summarizes this chart. It says today's 3.83% level is lower than about 85% of historical rates. So another way to say that is only 15% of the time going back to 1961 have rates been lower. So again, a great time to lock in a long-term rate. If you flip forward to the next section, I won't spend too much time going through this. It's just a review of the district's outstanding debt. But you can see through the roughly 15 or so bond series the district has outstanding, we've refinanced a lot of these up to this point. And we highlight the 2 series there in yellow that we're looking at now, the series 2008A and the series 2012 is the opportunity we see now. So the rest of the section is just a summary of the debt by numerically, and then the charts associated with that. If you flip to page, under tab 3, page 13, to summarize the opportunity, so again, a federal tax law allows a municipal debt issuer, if you're going to issue less than $10 million in debt in a calendar year, you can designate that debt what's called bank qualified. And since the district doesn't have any remaining bond authorization and we don't plan to sell any more debt, we would recommend we do that. Refinance up to $10 million to get that lower interest rate of those 2 series of bonds, 2008A and 2012. Got all of our summary of assumptions here. I'll just hit a couple of the high points here. All costs of issuance have been factored into the analysis. The district would not have to come out of pocket for any costs. And then the final 2 bullet points there, again, we do assume that we designate these bonds bank qualified. And then the final bullet point, which is the action order you'll have in front of you tonight, is to authorize what's called a parameters bond order, which delegates the authority to finalize the bond sale to Dr. Strike and Mr. Anderson once we can meet the terms outlined in the bond order. And what that does is allows us flexibility that we don't have to time our bond sale around your next meeting, and we kind of pick and choose the time when we think we can generate the most savings in the market. So really, the next page is the gist of the analysis on page 14. If you look at the middle column there, current market rates, again, we're going to refinance about $9 million in par amount of bonds. The average coupon on those bonds that's the existing interest rate is just under 4.6%. The all-in true interest cost of the refunding bonds would be about 3.2%, so about a 1.3% savings on the overall rate. That would generate total debt service savings of just over $1.3 million, which is about $52,000 a year. And on a present value basis, if you remember when I've talked about these in the past, this bogey we always look at as the net present value of savings as a percentage of the amount of bonds you're refunding. We generally like to really start looking at these opportunities when they get over 5%. You can see this one is exceeding 10 and is closer to 11, so something we would recommend moving forward with this time. And then also I like to show, this one is pretty sensitive to interest rate movement. So on the right, we just showed you what if rates go up 1/4 of a point, and you can see the savings percentage goes down to just under 7%. So the parameters order allows us some flexibility to find a time when we think we can maximize the savings and actually lock it up. So that is what we would recommend moving forward with. On page 15, this is just a summary of the annual savings. The district has a relatively level debt profile, so we've structured it as annual savings in each year, which we think sets you up nicely for any future debt sales. And then finally, the last tab here is just our estimated timetable. With the board's approval tonight, we'll move forward with the necessary documents, get the permanent school fund guarantee from the state, apply for credit ratings, put together all their offering documents to investors, and hope to be in a position to actually lock in the rate and offer the bonds to investors in mid-May. Right here we have it penciled in at May 18th, and then hopefully close the transaction on June 15th, is when everything will be finalized. So that's kind of an overview of the opportunity. I'm happy to take any questions, but you do have an action order in front of you tonight.
So I just want to say thank you. Since being on the board 3 years ago, we talked really about the financing of the district, and you guys have helped us tremendously. I mean, when we first got on the board, one thing that issuance was saving us almost $200,000 a year, which is about $1 million in 5 years. So we really appreciate you guys continually working with us to help us save a lot of money that can go back into the kids.
You got it. Thank you.
At this time, I need a motion to approve the bond order to refund the District Series 2008 and our Series 2012 bonds.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions from the board?
More savings.
Yeah.
So we're going to work on.
What's the next one?
Sorry, you have a question?
So I did have a question. I was noticing we had about 48 million in that series, in this, the 2012 series. I know per the tax benefit, it's only 10 million or less. What options are there for that other 38?
We could do it next year. The tax limitation cap will reset on January 1st of 18. So we could do either, if you don't sell additional new debt next year, we could look at doing another 10 million on a bank qualified basis, or you could always do a refunding on a non-bank qualified basis. You can do that on any amount, you just get the higher interest rate. So it may or may not make sense depending on what the market is.
Just, I mean, you may not have done an analysis. What is that rate at right now? Would that benefit us at this point?
We did look at it. I don't remember what the exact number was, but it's not something I'd recommend. Its savings are really low. And that one, not to get too far into the details, but it shows a $48 million amount. A large portion of that was what we consider new money, which is new authorization, and some of that was refunding as well. So you get into kind of the federal tax law, you can only do the new money portion refinanced at certain points and the refunding at certain points. So we're kind of pulling out the most economical stuff at this point.
Thank you.
But we're always looking at it, and we would, you know, if you don't sell new authorization, then we would probably show you another one early next year.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you waiting around.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll continue on with the reports of the superintendent.
Yes, Ms. Myers. At this time, I'd like to call up Dr. Cindy Micka, who's going to discuss school start times for our next school year.
Good evening, Board President, Dr. Strike, and board members. As you know, we have been, school start times in the calendar has been an ongoing discussion almost since we began school this year. And we've had several meetings with key players, that being Rod Templeton with the Gold Star, Daniel and Ross, as well as principals, athletic directors, coaches, etc. And so it's been a long process. A little bit of background for you. The first thing that we asked for was to start later for everyone and end earlier for everyone, and that would be a win-win. So that was our sky in the pie wish. They did come back with a proposal, and it's just not feasible for us to go to a two-tier or even a three-tier system. You know, we're three-tier plus Prestwick right now. And so we came back with some different times, switching some things around. And at the last meeting, Richard Templeton from Gold Star explained it very well to me. He said, you know, Cindy, when we load up and leave Oak Point and we get to 720, that's not even the drive from Oak Point to 720, which if you've been out there, you know it's quite a nightmare. Once they hit 7:20, it takes 25 minutes for that bus to get to the high school. That's without making a single stop. And what we were asking them to do was to go from a 45 or a 50-minute transition from drop to pickup to a 35-minute. And he says, you know, I can do that, but not a single student's going to be dropped off because we're just going to load them on the bus and take them all to the high school. So that kind of put it in more realistic terms for all of us. And we had all the principals there, and Coach Howell and Coach Brown as well. And so we talked, we've been brainstorming. This has been a lot of talk in the process. Another background piece of information I need to give you is about pre-K. So remember this year I asked y'all for a waiver for that pre-K program so that they would not have to meet half of the requirement that the rest of the students have to meet, which would have been 37,600 minutes. That waiver is not going to be given to us next year. And we're currently watching several bills in legislation, but we're not sure if they're going to be passed yet. The other thing is that with us, we're currently going about 2.5 hours with our pre-K AM and PM programs. So we're not getting full funded allotment. Additionally, if we don't go that 37,500 minutes with pre-K AM and the 37,500 minutes with pre-K PM next year, then they will start taking money away from us. So we have worked hard to come up with a schedule. The other thing, one of the things that we were looking at was taking back 25 minutes from the elementary so that we could start them later. But that's not going to be possible because of the pre-K 37,500 minutes. That means that those students would go an additional 30 minutes on top of. We are more than 10,000 minutes shy in pre-K. And so our pre-K students will be going to school almost 4 hours next year, instead of the 2.5 hours that they go this year. That is going to cause some issues, as we have a teacher and an aide that travels right now in between, but we are working on those issues. We know that we have to meet the letter of the law. And so that's just kind of a background information on how we came to what we're going to be doing next year, all right? So in about 2 months ago, Renee and Coach Howell came to me and said, you know, if we can, we want the high school to start first. And the reasons that I kind of took a breath. The reasons that they laid out to me were valid reasons. Number one, we had over 200 hours of substitutes for coaches for last period this year. If you multiply that by all of the students sitting in those classrooms, and that's missed contact time for all of those students, that they aren't getting the same level of instruction with a substitute as they are with their regular teacher. And so that's number one. And that's just so we can meet games. Number two was that we have a lot of athletes that also, and band members, students that are the drill team that have after-school activities that also have to work. You saw every single one of these DECA students up here held a job. And so one of the things that we've heard over and over again is that it's very difficult for our high school students to get out at 4:30 and then get to a job in the evenings and still have time to do their homework and coursework and study and practice and etc. And so what we have as a team, we talked for about an hour last week, all of the principals, including elementary, and what we are presenting for next year would be to move high school to the front slot, starting at 7:20. That would mean that they would be out by 2:55, allowing this would pretty much completely obliterate the need for subs for that last period for coaches. And so we would have all of our contact time. We don't quite know if, I should have calculated this and I didn't, but if you take how many days we had subs times what we pay a sub, we're gonna have a lot of cost savings right there. Also, the students will be able to practice after school and then get to their evening jobs or studying. We would be moving elementary to the middle slot that middle school currently holds. That's 8:05, they would be released at 3:40. We had a lot of discussion about this with the elementary principals, and we were, one of the things that we discussed was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, the elementary started at 7:55. And so this is only, starting at 8:05 is only 10 minutes later than what we had been starting. And so the discussion was held, what about parents that have to get to work? Where are we going to do with their students? And that 10 minutes difference can make a difference. One of the things that we're doing is I'm meeting with AlphaBest tomorrow to discuss and see if we have any options for before school care. And so I'll be able to report back on that in the next board meeting. So we feel very comfortable with this schedule here. We would want to keep Prestwick with the elementary because the majority of their students are elementary age. We even talked about doing a split start time and for Prestwick between elementary and middle school. And because of FTEs that serve both populations, not the classroom teachers, but the extraneous staff members, we just couldn't find a way to do that. We do know that by pulling them off of the middle school schedule, that we will, that we have some issues to work out with athletics, and I'll get to that in a minute. So then our third slot would go to the middle school. This would be an 8:55 to 4:30, which is what the high school currently has. So some things that we have, Coach Howell and Coach Brown have both assured us that they'll be able to work out the athletics concerns. One of the things that we will be doing is moving 8th grade athletics to the after the last period, 8th period instead. Right now they have first period athletics. This will allow those 8th grade students at Prestwick actually not to miss a single period during the school day, and then they will travel to the middle school for that 8th period, and then they'll have their practice after that. So the issue, the last concern then is 7th grade athletics. We don't have an answer yet as to how that's going to be addressed, but we will be working on that as a team. Mr. Roberts is working with Clint Miller and Coach Brown and Coach Howell to come up with a solution. So this is what we are presenting for school start times for next year. Any questions?
Oh, yes. So at Prestwick this year, I believe band was 0 period, correct? If I remember right.
We didn't have 0 period this year for band. We worked it into the class schedule by adding that extra FTE.
I thought it was 0 for some reason.
No, that was last year.
Okay, so how will band be affected at Prestwick? How are we looking at?
They won't be affected because we already worked that into their class schedule.
It's into their class
It is an
schedule.
elective.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
And I know previously you've gone to other groups, with community groups and stuff. We've done surveys for the start times. Have we looked into any of that? Talked to parents?
We have not done a survey.
I know a lot of parents will be very happy and a lot of parents will be very disappointed.
Right.
And that kind of...
With school start times, there is not a win-win.
No, there's not. I can personally see the benefit having 4 kids, knowing that this would have potentially worked as a parent, being able to drop off kids. And I know we're doing this also kind of late this year. What is the timeline for getting this solidified, voted on?
there's really, last year, I don't believe that we released the school times until June. So, yeah, so, you know, we've been working on this most of the year, pretty steadily, working on trying to find a fix. And we were hoping that one of the other things that we're implementing that we need to let y'all know is that right now we wind our way through neighborhoods picking up students, and so we will not be able to do that next year. We'll have central locations for pickup for students in neighborhoods. And one of the things that I was explaining today is my neighborhood in Oak Point. It's a fairly small neighborhood. From my house, walking all the way around and back to my house is about a mile. So that the bus comes into the neighborhood and makes several stops on that mile loop. And so we were talking today that from the furthest portion of the subdivision up to the front gate would be about a half-mile walk. And so that would be one of the ways that we're going to try and condense time, because as you know from social media and other reports, that we still have several buses that are not making that 45-minute drop and are consistently running late. And so that's one of the measures that we'll be taking. Also, Rod will be coming to you in May with the bus contract. And so all of this will be part of that, so we'll be discussing the finer points of the buses then as well.
One other question that I had, you said for Prestwick we'll be moving the athletics, they will no longer be missing a period. Is that correct?
For 8th period, that's what we are aiming for, yes. Because right now, 8th period is a first period athletics. And so they practice first thing in the morning before school, and then they stay for half of first period, and then we bus them to Prestwick. Because this won't work with first period starting at Prestwick at 8:05 and not starting till 8:55, both Coach Howell, Coach Brown felt that with 8th grade athletics, it was more important for them to move to the last part of the day, so that they would have that time that they wouldn't be missing the athletic timing.
Is that going to open up any additional classes for them? I know that some of the parents were having to choose between certain programs and athletics. Is that going to open them back up for them?
If this works like we have planned it to work, then they will not have to choose between athletics and an elective. So if they will actually take an extra period. So think about band 2 years ago was 0 hour. I don't know what you would call this hour, but it's 0 hour at the end of the day. So they will have the full schedule plus athletics. That is our goal with moving 8th grade to the end. Once we see how Coach and Clint and Christy iron out the nitty-gritty of everything, we'll be able to give more definite on that.
Thank you.
For me, middle school is a tough one, right? That age group seems to get in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of idle time between the point parents leave for work and they get to school, right? Will we offer any type of a service for them to drop off at school early for tutorials, maybe, and allow them to come in to school and drop off the kids earlier?
I do not know the answer to that. That's a good suggestion, and we'll have to see what we can do. Because right now, Alpha Best does not serve the middle school. It wouldn't be a duty that we would be able to have on a staff member every, full time, as they would go over their work hours per week.
What about the ACE program? Would they?
We'll have to speak with them about it, because right now they do ACE from 4 to 6:30, so I'm sure that they will do it from 4:30 to 6:30 now.
So, I had a couple questions. Well, you already touched on the two main ones I had. My general question was, for a substitute of one period in a day, are we still paying them the full day rate? Okay, So, I mean,
It's a half day, right?
The smallest amount of time you can put in the substitute system is a half day.
Right. The smallest amount of time you can put in for a substitute is half a day. So if they are there for one period, we're paying them for half a day.
I don't know, you mentioned that, you know,
Right.
of course, with that comes saving, do we know a dollar value?
50 times 200 is, y'all are really checking my math here. Was that $10,000 or, yeah?
So that's a quick. And then my other one was about Presswick and the periods, which Leanne already asked.
Any other questions from the board? I personally would like the schedule better. I know I was a big proponent of moving back elementary. I just did not like that 7:20 start time. That's from my own personal experience, but just from other parents that have elementary age. It was just really early. We have a lot of tardies. Everybody I drop off at 7:25. There's a couple days. So I do like that. I think I still have questions around athletics for middle school. I kind of agree with Mr. Flores that the late start is a little concerning, but I understand you're under a lot of parameters around that to get the timing right. So if you can, I think from the board's perspective, if we can just look at, when you finalize some of that information, if we can get that report back at that time, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Or maybe even, the analysis on the substitute savings, maybe rolling that into a program for something to allow for early drop-offs. I mean, that might be a good.
I really think ACE would probably do something. It's a great program, and Ms. Brown might be able to.
Yeah, I don't know what our ACE contract says, but Ross can look into that. He's over that program, and so Mr. Roberts will look into our contract with them. It's a grant, so I'm not really sure what that grant covers, and so we'll have to check into that. But we will come back with more detailed information for you, with more defined answers to what you're asking. And this, and I just personally, I'll be faced with the first slot, as many of you will, because I'm sitting here looking at a lot of you, and a lot of you have a high schooler next year as well as me. And so, I'm thinking about my own son and that, but they're adaptable and they're flexible, and so it's hard sometimes when we want to make a decision for one set of students, but we have to look at what's best for the whole district. And I tell you, we worked hard, really hard, trying to get a later start time and an earlier end time, and we just cannot work it out. Okay.
What time does breakfast start for the high school then?
So breakfast at the high school, y'all do 20 minutes or 30 minutes? 20? It would be the same as what we do now. It's 7 o'clock. Yeah, we would start breakfast. And that would actually correspond, because in order to make all of this work like we do at the elementary schools, first the buses have to drop off at 7 from the high school, so that we aren't late for every other drop off. So that was one of the things that we were able to assure Gold Star when we were talking with high school representatives, that we would be able to start serving breakfast at 7. We also had Carolyn Tarver with us, because one of the interesting things about the pre-K issue is that we are able to count minutes if we serve breakfast and lunch in the classroom, not in the cafeteria, but the way the law reads is it has to be served in the classroom. And so we will be doing that next year in order to recoup 30 minutes. Yeah, and so we have some other issues to work out with pre-K that we have meetings on over the next couple of weeks, and so we'll be filling you in on those as well as we go forward.
So that's an interesting idea. I mean, let me think for that real quick. So we'll have the kids actually eat in the classrooms. How will that impact the teachers and the cleanup and all of the stuff that's associated with a bunch of kids eating in classrooms all at the same time?
Exactly. Yeah, and Rod's look of on his face, as I'm sure that he's trying not to show right now. So, you know, it's doable though. There are a lot of districts that do this. In fact, one of the things that we were talking about at Oak Point is doing a pilot there for their entire campus because they feed the most students in the free lunch program, and doing that for all of their classes for breakfast. And it is doable. You just roll the big cans down, and students learn to clean up and help in the mornings and throw their trash away, and we get that trash outside of those classrooms, and the custodians sweep through the building and collect it. And so, you know, it does give challenges, but not a challenge that we all don't feel like we can meet and do what's best for the students.
And I know at the high school, one of the things that many of the high schools will do they will actually go and pick up their siblings. So I definitely think this will help with that. And the fact that they'll get up a little earlier, they'll be able to hike down to the middle school or the elementaries and pick up their siblings. So I think we'll see some of that, which will probably be helpful to them.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that the elementary principals liked, is the older siblings who drive getting off first and being able to get home and watch those. Because a lot of them may not work outside, but babysit in the house with the younger siblings.
Hey, one more thing, just as a point of reference of having the numbers behind it. If we were to go to a 2-layer, what would that take? I'm not asking for that answer now, that's something.
Well, we actually pretty much priced that out, and
we can get that for you.
yeah.
It'd be something good to have out there, just to give a good frame of reference of, hey, I mean, anything's possible with enough money, right? It's just a matter of how much that money figure is.
We'll get you a number, but when we actually presented that to the principals, and we talked about how many teachers that would be, and unanimously everyone said we need teachers. Because if you think about the money that we're spending in buses is think about that and how much we're spending FTE, typically about $60,000 with benefits on a teacher. Then it was quite a few teachers.
It'd be something the public
right,
would know also.
right.
Just
And we will get that to you in May. We'll have those numbers for you. Gold Star had already pretty much worked that up.
So when is the plan to start really getting the community involved in this information?
As soon as we have the okay, we'll start publishing.
And so are we going to accept feedback still too, or?
We can do a survey.
The question I'd have on the survey is, while surveys are great, how much flexibility do you have? You ask people to give input, and then you go, well, thank you very much, but we can't use that. Is it, I mean, that's, we can do it. I'm just saying that knowing how tough this is to figure out, and to Mr. Montemure's point, if we have the right dollars, we can run a one-tier system, start and finish all at the same time. It's just, it's so expensive, and Rod, by expensive, I know you can get the number, but aren't we talking $1 million?
Yeah, we're talking considerably between $500,000 and $1 million.
All over start time.
Yeah,
And you take $1 million when, you know, we look at trying to give teacher raises or whatever we're trying to do, there's only so much money.
I almost feel we're better served just really providing all the information to why.
Yeah, and I think the why is huge, and if y'all want a survey, we can do it. My concern is when you ask people's opinion with no intent to do anything about it, it becomes an issue.
Yeah, I'd rather us at least begin the communication, like Mr. Montemore was saying, and saying, hey, these are the rational reasons of why we present this information and why decisions are made based on our unique situation. One of the unique situations we have is just our sheer demographic as a roadage, of the way our roads are positioned around the lake and where we are, what we have. So we're going to consistently run into these problems where you go down south, you go up north. I think from a board standpoint of view, you know, when we look at capital improvements, this has to significantly be taken into consideration about kids being involved in sports, being involved in band, being involved in all these other things that could constantly have us busing kids around, because our transportation cost seems to rise tremendously when we do this.
And we really don't have a whole lot of options to really even choose from.
Well, our roadage doesn't matter. I mean, we have very few roads through our cities the locations. And if you start getting really out, you look at Oak Point, and you look at Hackberry, and you look at some other roads, you know, you're talking one road in, one road out. That's it. And if that road is sitting there and TxDOT decides they want to do any kind of development on that road, forget it.
Or if there's a wreck.
Yeah, a wreck, development, bad rain, snow.
Ducks.
Ducks. Hail, which knocks out 30 buses, you name it, we're all.
I just think people need to know that, one, why, but then also what the process was, and know that it wasn't just somebody sitting there going, oh, that's
Yeah.
what I like.
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can start that probably as soon as possible, even if it's.
Yeah, just communication.
We can, and then we're not ready to finalize pre-K because we still have a few things to work out and some things with the bus contract as well for the additional cost because right now we don't provide midday transportation and we need to add that next year. So we bus our pre-K students to school, but then we expect someone to pick them up midday, and then if they're in the PM, we expect them to be dropped off by their parents, but then we'll put them on a bus and take them home. And so one of the things that we are going to be including is that, so when we do, we'll be ready with the whole pre-K start in time and all of the meshing out all of that as well. Thank you.
This has always been our biggest problem.
Thank you, Dr. Mika. Next, we've got the fourth quarter 2016 growth report with Mr. Reeves. And I talked to Rod earlier. Most of you, I believe, were at the Long Range Facilities Planning Committee meeting that was actually had Bob Templeton from Templeton Demographics present this. So I've asked him to kind of hit the highlights. So if there's something you want to see that you did not have an opportunity to see as he goes through it, or he doesn't emphasize, please let him know. Otherwise, he's going to be relatively brief.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Strike and President Myers and members of the board. Just go over some quick changes in this. Let's go to the next slide if you want. So we're seeing a little bit of slight increase in the unemployment rate in Little Elm, but you can see it's considerably lower than the U.S. average and Texas average. We are seeing that we're still strong in job growth in Texas. We're one of the best in the whole country. And so, next slide. If we take a look at this chart, it shows that number of starts that we had. We're considerably above what we were last year in our fourth quarter starts. But if you look at our closings, you see that those have gone down. And the reason for that is there's just a labor shortage for all the amount of houses and work that's going on, not only for the housing market, but commercial facilities. That's one of the reasons why we're looking at bringing back the transportation GMP, guaranteed maximum price due, in August. We feel that we'll have a considerable amount of savings there because people will be looking for work after the summer work is completed. Go to the next slide. Take a look at this. It's an interesting chart. You see the bubble for 9th grade. It's those ones that are still working on their credits to become a sophomore, so you always see that higher levels there for the 9th grade. But something that's interesting is if you look at their kindergarten numbers, they're holding those steady. The demographer and Mr. Templeton was saying, he was blaming the millennials for this. He's saying that and I have 2 kids that are millennials. They're saying they're waiting longer to have children. And so that they think that is the reason why, because we're seeing all this new growth in housing, and it's sort of weird not to see that, kindergarten number, pre-K numbers be higher. So they're kind of being a little conservative there and checking that out. If you take a look at our functional capacity, this is sort of something we went over. If you look at just this chart, it seems like this is just for elementary campuses for 10-year forecast. And if you look at it, it looks like we're in pretty good shape for capacity. But if you go to the next slide, when you start introducing programs and the use of the facility, if you look at the program capacity, you look at almost all of our elementary campuses are full. And so when we talk about those special programs, we're talking about special ed, pre-K, gifted and talented, ACE programs. And so the program capacity is much less. So it's about 650 programs that we have. We have some different programs at each campus. But if you look at that capacity number, it's about 650. And so you can see, especially at Oak Point, where we have Wild Ridge and Woodridge developments occurring, that's one of the reasons why we're coming to you for requesting portables at that location. Go to the next one. Just so in summary, Dr. Strike, very quickly, just we're growing still very fast. We're seeing that our capacities are full at elementary campus. We're pretty good at our high school now. We're about at 2,500 capacity, but that's not the current use that we have. It's about 75% usage of that because we don't have floating teachers. So at the high school, you could always have floating teachers increase that capacity by another 25% if you had to without building. Middle school, we know that we're going to be having to do something in that, you know, in probably 3 to 5 years. We're going to get capacity not only at Prestwick, but we will at Lakeside Middle School. So on that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Are we still targeting to finish the high school?
Yes, the Balfour Beatty has done a great job working to try to make up time. We made up a considerable amount of time, and so we feel very comfortable that we're going to meet the target date of that. So I hope we didn't just jinx ourselves on some things. But we're almost dried in on the classroom addition, on the band hall and the new admin area, and so we feel very comfortable at this point.
I know I ask this every time, but on the 10-year forecast, the Lakeside Middle School, it includes the sixth grade center, right?
That's correct. It includes that.
Can you maybe just on the
Yes.
report,
Yes.
type in how?
Now, one other note.
For me?
No, I'll do that for you and everybody. I'll do that. So, and then also on the, it does not include portables at Prestwick. So if you look at the capacity number at Prestwick, it does include a portable. So we do have a little bit more capacity there.
So the functional capacity doesn't include?
That's correct. So if you look at the Prestwick number, that would increase by about 5 more classrooms. So 22 students per classroom.
Cool. Thank you.
Plus or minus. 5th grade, 24 to 1. So, great. Thank you.
Rod, did
Yes.
Templeton discuss anything about the median price, that median new home sales price was more than 300,000?
It is. That's a great
Elm
point.
ISD now.
That's a
In
great
terms
point.
of that, kindergarten numbers, potentially, I know an analysis that Frisco did, because they're seeing, while they're still growing, they're seeing those numbers suppressed at those earlier grade levels, and they're just theorizing because the price point of a home has become so expensive in Frisco that they're not entry-level homes for a lot of folks that might have those younger children.
That's a great point. Yes, sir. And so, but the one positive thing in that is if you look at the inventory number, it has increased. So hopefully that median price will hold steady or be a little lower, but that's a great point.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. All right, Dr. Strike, you good? At this time, the board will recess into closed meeting in PL 1 as permitted by the Texas Opens Meeting Act, subchapter 551.074 and 551.072, and at 8:39 p.m. We'll now reopen session at 9:49. Action items. First up, discuss and approve the request for board approval of consulting personal services by superintendent. Dr. Strike?
The information that you would need to know as a board is, a little bit is in the summary, as outlined in my contract, May 16, 2016. Most of that is legal, and that's in my contract, legal in terms of meaning state law. And one of the things that it has to be is it needs to have action taken in an open board meeting. The company that I would consult with is called Pro Unlimited, and they're a per diem day consultant. They make assignments. I had the business office do a search because of conflict, and Anna Chavez did a search and found that there are no records current or prior that we've ever done business with Pro Unlimited, and there's no pending contracts or business with Pro Unlimited at this time. And so my request would be to permitted to consult using accumulated personal or vacation days and or on non-district days. And non-district days is referring to our calendar days, because contractually I don't have any day. My days are 365, so it would be on non-district days.
At this time, I need a motion to approve to permit to consult as outlined in this contract dated May 16, 2016 under section 2 employment subsection 2.6.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions for the board, from the board?
Answer my questions.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next up, discuss and approve financial reports. Ms. Beck is going to provide this evening, since Mr. Anderson is out.
The administration recommends approval of the February 2017 financial reports as presented. If you have any questions, you have to answer.
At this time, I need a motion to approve February 2017 financial reports as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions from the board?
No.
No questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Ms. Beck.
Oh, Grant's gotta go again.
So, since 10C was already moved up, discuss and approve the Little Elm ISD expenditures over 50,000 summary report. Mr. Weiss is going to be providing that this evening.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Dr. Strike, appreciate it. So you have the expenditures that are over $50,000. The items up are the uniform replacements and the portables at Oak Point and out back here behind the others. Do you have any questions about any of the expenditures?
At this time, I need a motion. I can't find it. I'm having
Make a
computer
motion
issues.
to approve the Little Elm ISD expenditures over $50,000 summary report dated April 24, 2017.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Weiss? All right, any questions from the board? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up, discuss and approve the Little Elm ISD interlocal summary report.
We're bringing an interlocal agreement for you today. It's with the Region 11 Benefits Co-op. Basically, this is allows us to be part of the co-op that does all of our non-medical benefits, so dental, vision, accident, that kind of thing. Allows us to be part of a larger co-op so we can go and get bid based on a much larger pool. So it's a lot better rates for those providers.
Okay. At this time, I need a motion to approve the Little Elm ISD interlocal summary report dated April 24th, 2017.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Weiss? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is consent agenda. Ms. Padilla, due to the reading of, do we need to move item G out for discussion?
She has a resolution.
Is that
She needs to be pulled.
read through the easement?
Does she need to read the resolution?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll, 11G, we'll pull that out of consent. Yep. So item 11G, discuss and approve the execution of, personal, I guess, is the board okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. To move it out.
Don't we have to make a motion to move it, remove it from the consent agenda?
We just need to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted with the exception of item G.
Okay.
Right, but we'll do that after we do
And
this.
then after that, we make the motion for the resolution.
Okay. So then I need a motion
To
to,
approve the
correct, to approve the consent agenda without item G.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
They will. appointed to.
He did. Not me.
Those three people.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? All right, consent agenda. Motion carries. So item G, discuss and approve the execution of easements to CL Oak Point Development LLC at Oak Point Elementary School. Mr. Reeves, you want to?
Thank you, board members. The administrator recommends that we approve the donation of easement to CL Oak Point Development LLC in the amount of $13,606 plus legal fees not to exceed $2,000. Yes.
All right. Resolution authorizing conveyance of sanitary sewer easement. Whereas the Little Elm Independent School District currently owns property as described in deed to the district reported in file number 2006-154537, deed records, Denton County, Texas. Whereas the intended use for the land by the district is for educational purposes, specifically Oak Point Elementary School. Whereas Oak Point, Texas has requested an easement to install and construct sanitary sewer facilities on a portion of the land in return for certain consideration. Whereas Oak Point has requested that the board authorize the execution of the sanitary sewer easement and temporary construction easement, the original of which shall be recorded among the official public records of Denton County, Texas. Whereas a copy of the proposed easement is attached hereto and incorporated herein for all purposes. Wherein the easement is identified by metes and bounds, therefore be it. Resolved, that the findings and recitals in the preamble of this resolution are hereby found to be true and correct and are hereby approved and adopted. That the Board of Trustees of the Little Elm Independent School District, the board, has approved the easement attached as Exhibit A, and that the president of the board is authorized to execute the easement. That it is hereby found, determined, and declared that sufficient written notice of the date, time, place, and subject of the meeting of the board at which this resolution was adopted was posted at a place convenient and readily accessible at all times to the general public for the time required by law preceding this meeting. As required by Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, and that this meeting has been open to the public as required by law at all times during which this resolution and the subject matter thereof has been discussed, considered, and formally acted upon. The board further ratifies, approves, and confirms such written notice and posting thereof. I need a motion for the board to approve the execution of easements to CL Oak Point Development LLC at Oak Point Elementary School.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? I'll repeat that first part.
Third whereas. What was that again?
Nope. Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. All right. President comments. I just wanted to say thank you to all of those that came into the meeting this evening and all of the awards. And it was just really impressive to see all of the students that are so involved in academics and so involved in the groups and how well we've done so far this year. We were just talking about it last week that it seemed like school just started and it's almost to the end. It goes by faster and faster the older you get, I guess. But just to see all the kids come in and all the awards and accolades, and it was just really impressive to see, and I know there's going to be a lot more. So those are my only comments this evening. At this time, I'll open it up to board comments.
I gotta go first here for specific reason. We had received the email regarding rescheduling of the retreat.
Yes.
Item A.
We did. It's on the back page. Oh, yes. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we scheduled a board retreat.
My fault.
I will blame Mr. English on this one. It was not my fault.
Wasn't going to anyway.
There was some confusion on whether the meeting was on the 29th or 22nd or the 29th.
Yes.
And due to that, we had to reschedule. We tried to move it to the 29th, and then there were still some that could not attend. So we would like to reschedule. My thought is the soonest we probably can do that is the June timeframe. But if we can all look at our calendars and ensure that we can have a Saturday free, and Dr. Strike, obviously this is gonna depend on.
Yeah, one of the suggestions, I checked with SLT this morning. Of course, May is just, you got election day on the 16th, the 13th 's Mother's Day weekend, graduation on the 27th, it's pretty full. The only piece that I might suggest in June is to see if the board wanted to, we could combine a board workshop with a team of 8 training and bring in an attorney to work with the board on whatever topic, and the particular attorney's firm will actually bring in and cook dinner or cook lunch or whatever, and provide that right on the spot for us. The only thing that we're gonna run into in June on a weekend is the fact the district's closed on Fridays, and trying to get people together, because with a meeting on a Saturday morning, not that we can't, but then you've got that Saturday morning breaks up a Friday, Saturday, Sunday combo, and people travel. And again, we can make that work, it just may be dependent on who we could have in attendance. Unless we wanted to turn it into just a board workshop with a team of 8 training, and then it'd just be me, if we wanted to do it that way. So it's up to you, how y'all want to do it. Or we could do it on a night, any night during that Monday
Well,
through
that's what I was gonna mention.
Monday through Wednesday is just do a night, have them come in and barbecue, whatever, it's part of their service.
I think our last board of 8 or team of 8 that was a Tuesday night or something,
Yeah.
like 6 to 9 or.
Yeah.
I'm open to whatever.
You okay with that one?
Up
I
to
would,
you.
because in June, I've got a wedding, sweet 16, my weekends are pretty.
Well, how long is, the board retreat, we did it for, was it 4 hours or 5 hours last time?
We did it from 8 to noon, and that included 11:30 to 12 with kind of a working lunch.
Working lunch? The question is, will that be long, but no. Because we had quite a bit of topics to go over.
Well, agenda items though, I didn't receive many
No,
when we
we
made
didn't,
that
but
call. The biggest, I believe, was the board wanting to finalize the board operating procedures.
At the time, yeah.
And clarify that, kind of get that, so y'all were comfortable with that. And then any of the other items that I would have added from our folks out here can easily be board presentations. We've got a couple items that we would have thrown on there that easily could be done at a board, but, that's all up to you.
I'm out of town from June 9th through July 9th, so.
Oh, you're just gonna leave for a whole month? You're just gonna take off?
He's on European vacation time.
Hey, I'm not gonna blame him, because I'm looking at some zippers, so I can't quite figure it out.
Preferably, I would like to do a weeknight if we can. I know that stinks, but.
I'll be okay with it. If we need to go to that.
The first week of June.
So it'd either be the first week of June, or we'd have to move it to July.
So we could do June 5, 6, 7, that would catch the world traveler.
Yep.
I'm good, I'm actually good.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So what, June, is that a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7, it's Monday, Tuesday.
Do we want to confirm schedules and then?
I'd like to just be on the safe side, just because we looked at a weeknight, I need to double confirm. I think I'm good, but I'm not.
Let Sonia email the board tomorrow and ask for preference dates of initially 5, 6, 7. If we can't find one there, I guess then we know David will be gone. You just have to make a decision. And then I guess the other piece in there that I'll have her put is, you want it to be strictly workshop with board operating procedure. I know that Daniel had a CNI program you want to go over that deals with excellence, but that can be done in here. Strategic plan update can be done in a board meeting. So really, board operating procedure, just depending on how long.
I would like to get a discussion of more on the curriculum, and then some, I know we talked about doing some liaison stuff out throughout the community and, legislative things, so I would love to get some discussion around
And I know Mr. Blackwood had a suggestion also that dealt with the students on the a student on the board, and we may present, I'll talk to him first about it since it was his idea, but just another little twist on that may actually involve the whole board and more kids to just kind of trigger it off your conversation with that, and talk with SLT and a couple folks. It came out that, hey, here's kind of a neat model that might work.
So would it be a good thing to maybe just put in a board meeting, like as a presentation? I mean, I'm gonna step on your toes, because I know what you're at, because I thought it was a great idea.
It's, I wouldn't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem doing it at the board meeting. I think this is one of the items though that's gonna take I think maybe we could do it at a board meeting first, the basic presentation, and then have a time of the workshop to hammer it out, because the idea is gonna take a tremendous amount of discussion, figuring out what the possibilities are.
Maybe present it.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Put it, you do as the June, or May 15th agenda item if you want to.
Okay, yeah.
Have a
And I'll
presentation.
send you that stuff in
Okay.
the meantime of just kind of some brainstorming that we felt might be worth the board looking at.
Yeah, and even, I don't think it's a huge issue, but even if I could get up and kind of propose the basic idea also at that point in time, I'd be more than happy to.
Sure. We'll put that on the agenda.
You.
With your approval, obviously.
Sounds good. So are we kind of talking more of a workshop and team of 8 simultaneous?
Yep.
That's just if you felt like you needed want to get a team of 8 training in, your
We
post.
need to get one, I think.
Election, we
last
need
time.
to have one this year.
Yeah.
The current policy states we have a team of 8 and a board retreat every year. So as of
We've had-
this meeting, or actually the next one in May, we essentially have not followed our own policies by not having one or both during the school year.
Yeah, in a year, you can be working.
No, because it's from election to election. It's from the swearing into the new board.
But you did have
Yeah,
a board
we did
retreat
have-
because
we
you
did,
guys
yeah.
hammered out
Yeah.
goals. What
Yeah.
you
Already
need is a
had-
team of 8 training.
Correct.
So, yeah, so I guess,
We have one
that's-
for the beginning, which we had, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
so I think to your point, team of 8,
And
workshop.
yeah. Yep.
combo.
And then what you need to do in that team of 8, let me get some topics from the attorney and share them with y'all and let you guys kind of maybe decide, hey, this would be 1, 2, 3 ranked for me, and go from there. Unless you have some other idea in terms of somebody to present.
No.
I just think it,
Like I say, I think the biggest thing we need is discussions around curriculum, a little bit more about that. They want to come up with the concept, we talked a little bit about this, about there are basically 3 opportunities kids have leaving our school system, which is, military, career, or college, and the ideal of potential academies around some of that development.
Okay. So yeah, I would say then that sounds like a good plan. Look at your schedules, determine what's gonna be feasible. This video, will send that out. And then again, if you have topics, make sure to get them to her so she can get that to Dr. Strike and we can have an all-inclusive. Any other questions on that? All right, I'll open it up for board comments.
Just want to thank the administration and the schools for everything they've done. We have a lot of firsts. It's really nice to hear in the last 3 years to hear the first really show what the district is about and how we're doing, how we're moving forward. So really appreciate all the efforts there.
Mr. Blackwood?
Again, also kind of same thing, just want to thank admin for everything they've done. Also really impressed with what all the accomplishments that the students, not only at the high school, but the middle school and just the district as a whole has done this year. There's been some pretty impressive items come out. I think the one that really got me more than anything all year long was the Hackberry coding kids. That the programs they're doing there is just phenomenal, and some of the things are coming along. So that's it for me.
Mr. Flores?
Ditto. Another comment.
Mr. Montanaro?
Nothing new to add.
Ms. Harden?
I'll be real brief. I just want to tell you guys how much we appreciate y'all. I know in the beginning when we recognize a lot of what we're doing, especially the number of scholarships we're handing out that our kids are receiving. I know it makes these meetings a little bit longer, but I was very impressed. I'm still blown away by the strides that have changed in the last few years. So I just appreciate you guys staying here with us so late, and we'll try to keep it short. So thank you.
Mr. Olson?
You know,
Whoa, wait. You don't have 37 things?
mark it down. April 24th.
He must be real busy at work.
You know.
Jeez.
Dr. Strange?
Actually, I heard him mumbling, where's my list? Where's my list? You haven't stole my list. Just, again, you know, we have things that, what you saw tonight with just some, there's more to come. I think what's exciting is just to see that culture change over the years of mediocrity doesn't work. And even heard Coach Segler talk about that when he came, it was kind of mediocrity might be okay. And I know Coach Brown told me that was one of the things that shocked him when he got here, was how people were just willing to accept mediocrity. And it was kind of like, well, that's just the way it is here. One of the things that we talked about when I actually first came on the job was the whole idea of we really don't have a college-going culture here. I know that Dr. Mick and I were looking at, she was showing me some data, we're looking at AP scores, and I can't remember, Cindy had a child that had 4 or 5 AP tests, all 4s and 5s, mostly 5s, got to look at getting and applied to go to college. And it was a minority student with 4 and 5s on 4 or 5 AP tests. And so it was like, well, am I really going to college? And I don't know if you all caught the names of these schools that these kids have been accepted at. You're talking multiple times, you heard the word Rice. I'm gonna tell you, you hear the word Penn, you better, that's more difficult to get into than Harvard and Wharton Business School on top of it. Because you can get accepted to school, but not, it's just like getting into A&M's Mays Business College or the UT program. Those are not easy to get accepted to. You might get accepted into the university, but into those colleges as a freshman. We got 2 athletes that were offered to West Point coming out of this graduating class. We've got one of the athletes I know is getting ready to talk to Stanford. And when I say that, it isn't just about playing football. This young man has a very high SAT, but SMU was mentioned multiple times. That's just what you heard tonight. There's kids all over that are finally going, gosh, what? I can go to college, I can do that? And they can. So that's exciting, and I'm giving a lot of credit to a lot of people, but I think Miss Brown, that's the reason I wanted to hire her so bad. She came in to talk to me as a parent, actually, and in the conversation with her, I thought, gosh, that college coordinator I want to hire someday, man, would she be the fit? And you all allowed us to have that FTE, and it's made a huge difference to us to be able to get that whole college-going culture. You mentioned someone scholarships, I believe Leanna did. They're doing some awards coming up here in May, and they'll be right around $4 million that's been offered in scholarships to this graduating class. But here's what I want to share with you. Just and I really, if you will write this down, so you don't forget it. In 2016, we gave 512 AP exams at Little Elm High School. 512 AP exams in 2016, and 270 students took those 512 AP exams. 2017, 817 AP exams given, 417 students. We're up 63% in the terms of the number of AP exams we're given, and we're up 65% in the number of children that are taking AP exams. And so when you put that's a 1-year growth. And that didn't all happen, that caused that to happen in 1 year, but I'm telling you, that wasn't the norm. And that's a lot of people's hard work. It's planning, it's talking to kids and believing in those kids and having a passion that these kids can do whatever they want. Somebody just has to open the stinking door for them. And that's the one thing that we've talked about is we can't financially afford everything, but I'm gonna tell you, we're not gonna close doors to kids. And we have people throughout this entire system that are making sure doors don't get closed from pre-K to 12th grade. And their coaches and their directors and their teachers. And again, our celebrations have been academic to extracurricular. And so I think that shows just that whole shift. And as we start to see some exciting things happen, some programs that we can add, and we're looking at long-range facilities planning committee and what we can do to continue to make sure we have enough seats for kids to be able to take care of them and bring equity in some cases and equality in other cases. We're looking at STEM, that it doesn't matter what elementary school you go to from kindergarten on, you can be involved in a STEM program, take an engineering class. Our coding that you saw, I mean, that can just explode through this whole system. You know, we have kids that are in elementary school that could actually go out and qualify for $100,000 a year jobs right now when they're in 5th grade.
That's awesome.
Coding. Right here in Dallas. And so then you look at the CTE things that we're doing, the leadership stuff. You know, if we need something bad in this country, it's leadership. And I'm telling you, we're developing a lot of leaders in Little Elm. From watching those kids that got up here to what we see at the high school. 13 of those kids have qualified to go to the DECA Career International Conference. 13, what do you say? Most of you taken before? 3? 13?
Yeah, 13.
So it's just it's all over. And again, and I've said this before. You walk down the halls of our schools, we got the nicest kids. We have nice kids, and it's our moral imperative to make sure we do everything we can to give them opportunities in life. And we got people that are doing it. We got room to grow, obviously, but the trajectory is not flat. It's upward. It's upward. And the ship is sailing in the right direction, and I appreciate this board's leadership and support.
Are we still on par to, or on plan to get the leadership class implemented?
Yes, sir. Yeah. We're ready to go. And in fact, we did of course, the pilot this spring.
Mm-hmm.
And then this summer, actually, we're even bringing in all of our coaches to do a one-day training just so they get it. And then, of course, then we'll roll it out in the fall.
Well, that can be 8th grade, is that where we'll put it, or freshmen?
Freshmen.
Freshmen, okay.
July 28th is the day that we'll train all the coaches.
Okay. Yeah, because we were gonna pair it with health, is that correct? So the opposite semesters?
Best we can so that there's a backup to
Yes,
those.
okay.
You get so many singletons, it's hard to, what do you do behind that?
Yeah.
So, yes. And I know Renee's been working with Ross on trying to get that all hammered out. And that company has actually written a parent to kind of make it 360 between the teachers, and now parents. And they've got a whole parent piece that they've written that we may try and go through our booster club and roll it out. Some of it's online, some of it's face-to-face, and I'm reading the manuscript right now and going to write a forward for it. So just exciting things that we're kind of a catalyst in making a difference. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Stark. At this time, I need a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
That was quick.
All those in favor, raise your hand. We'll adjourn at 10:19.
He's still looking for Celeste.
Opposed?
I bet the other one, I meant the first one. I voted for. Yeah, that's my dessert for